Chapter 154 I'm leaving, don't cry. When Wang Dong woke up, the sun had already risen. Although he had gone to sleep late the previous night, he still slept very soundly. He had spent many of his nights cultivating. He felt much more relaxed after sleeping through the night instead. He wanted to laze in bed for the rest of the day. However, what time was it already? His initial comfort turned to a flurry of emotions, jerking him up from his sprawling position. He was the only one on the bed. The other side of the bed was empty, except for a sheet of paper. Wang Dong snatched up the paper. There was only a single line of words on it. I've left. Don't cry. Wait for me to return. That rascal. Wang Dong jumped off from his bed and donned his outerwear. Before he even finished buttoning up, he had already opened his window and leapt out. A pair of bluish wings flapped open behind his back, flashing with a golden yellow radiance as the sun shone on them. He flapped his wings forcefully and flew rapidly towards the main gate of the academy. Huo Yuao was very calm, and even wore a smile on his face. He had yet to obtain his 4th soul ring, but he could already use a flying type soul tool with his rank 40 soul power. Wang Dong was sleeping very soundly at dawn, so Yuao didn't wake him up. He was afraid of saying goodbye. Wasn't it good just like this? He had already bid his goodbyes the night before. The other 4 members of Shrek's 7 monsters sent him, and he catered off. They were perplexed as to why Wang Dong didn't come. Huo Yuao only laughed and joked that Wang Dong was crying in his dorm room. Huo Yuao turned and looked back in the direction of Shrek Academy. Huo Yuao said in his heart, Shrek, Wang Dong, I'm leaving. Don't worry. I still remember that I owe you 2 things. He had come to Shrek Academy at the age of 11, and now he was already 14 years old. His entire personality had transformed completely in these 3 years. Huo Yuao was overwhelmed as he recalled his 3 years in the academy. What would the next 2.5 years be like? What would he be like 2.5 years from now, when he returned from the Sun Moon Imperial Soul Engineering Academy? Everything was unknown. Even if Elder Mu didn't insist on sending him to the Sun Moon Imperial Soul Engineering Academy then, he would have fought for this chance. Huo Yuao became more and more interested in soul tools the more he learned about them. Furthermore, he could sense the difference between Shrek Academy and the Sun Moon Imperial Soul Engineering Academy in terms of soul tools. He was certain that the judgment sword that had caused Ma Xiao's martial soul to transform was something that Shrek Academy's teachers couldn't create even if they worked together. The difference wasn't just in terms of valuable resources. More importantly, it was in terms of the concepts behind soul tools and the amount of accumulated research. Huo Yuao and Iketu chose 2 different paths even though they were both learning to create soul tools. Huo Yuao was more focused on close combat soul tools and soul tools controlled by one's body. On the other hand, Iketu was more into stationary soul tools, and especially stationary soul tool cannons. The stationary soul tool cannons that they had purchased from the Starlight Auction House had many uses. Elder Mu once mentioned that he had snuck into the Sun Moon Empire for reconnaissance purposes before. Within the next 1,000 years, stationary soul tool cannons were bound to become the strongest soul tools. That was because stationary soul tool cannons could fuse in more core formations regardless of their size, and use better materials without any restrictions. When Iketu realized that his talent in soul tools was incomparable to Huo Yuao's, he decisively made a choice to focus on specific areas. Huo Yuao also gave up learning about the creation of stationary soul tools after Iketu made his choice. Both of them had their own targets to meet. Over the past 1.5 years, Huo Yuao and Iketu had made some progress in the ultimate soldier plan. This progress wasn't just in terms of their cultivation, but also their knowledge of different aspects. Of course, they needed more time to digest the knowledge they had as they learned more. According to Shrek Academy's Soul Tool Department's plan, these 2.5 years would be the time for them to assimilate all their knowledge. Yan Xiaosh was the one leading the group from Shrek Academy this time. Besides Iketu and Fan Wu, there were 8 other outstanding talents from Shrek Academy's Soul Tool Department's inner courtyard that were coming on this trip. Although the Soul Tool Department's inner courtyard disciples couldn't compare to the Martial Soul Department's inner courtyard disciples, they were still outstanding, having been nurtured by the Soul Tool Department. Furthermore, the students from Shrek Academy's Soul Tool Department were originally from the Martial Soul Department. Their ability to get into Shrek Academy already proved that they weren't ordinary. The Soul Tool Department's inner courtyard disciples that were chosen this time were at least Soul Kings, and were at least Class 5 Soul Engineers. They would be pretty outstanding even in the Sun Moon Empire. Of course, Class 5 Soul Engineers from Shrek Academy couldn't compare to Class 5 Soul Engineers from the Sun Moon Imperial Soul Engineering Academy. Huo Yuao and Iketu flew at the back of the group. There was a Class 6 Soul Engineer badge on Iketu's chest. Soul Engineer badges differed according to class. They all adopted the shape of a star anise, but the badges were blue for Class 1 to Class 3 Soul Engineers, which were differentiated using diamond-carved stars. The badges were purple for Class 4 to Class 6 Soul Engineers, black for Class 7 and 8 Soul Engineers, and red for Class 9 Soul Engineers. As there had never been a Class 10 Soul Engineer before, a Class 10 Soul Engineer badge didn't exist. Huo Yuao's badge was blue, and had 3 diamond-carved stars on it. Hiketu's badge was purple, and had 6 diamond-carved stars on it. This represented a huge gap between them. Only Hiketu was aware that Huo Yuao wasn't inferior to him, apart from creating stationary soul tools. It was just that Huo Yuao's soul power was lacking. In addition, Hiketu even carried a few soul tools created by Huo Yuao. Hiketu had managed to reach rank 50 just a month ago. He had obtained his 5th soul ring and become a soul king. As such, his Class 6 Soul Engineer title wasn't just for show. It was also fitting for Huo Yuao to wear a Class 3 Soul Engineer badge, since he had 3 soul rings. After all, a Soul Engineer's soul power rank and Soul Engineer class had a direct connection, even though it was possible to perform beyond one's class. Shrek Academy was situated at the southeast region of the Heavenly Soul Empire, while Maple Leaf City was at the southwest region of the Heavenly Soul Empire. The Sun Moon Empire could be reached by moving west to the border of the Western Territories. The flying distance was about twice the distance between Shrek City and Douluo City. The students had to rest every 2 hours due to their limited soul power. Yan Xiaosh didn't carry the rest like Elder Sun had. They only arrived at their destination late in the afternoon. Maple Leaf City was on the western side of the Douluo Empire, near to its very active border with the Sun Moon Empire. Maple Leaf City handled a lot of the military logistics of the Heavenly Soul Empire. At the same time, it was an important trading and commercial city at the border. Even though it wasn't as prosperous as Shrek City, it wasn't inferior in terms of size. After entering the city, Yan Xiaosh brought the students to find a hotel to stay in. He instructed them to rest well. The 8 students from the inner courtyard knew one another very well. Hiketu and Huo Yuao were younger, and the academy also kept news of them a secret after they entered the ultimate soldier plan, so the inner courtyard seniors didn't know much about them. However, Hiketu's Class 6 badge caught their attention. Hiketu hadn't entered the inner courtyard yet, and he was only 17 years old. There was another Class 6 Soul Engineer among the inner courtyard disciples apart from Hiketu. He was also the leader of the 8 students. Yan Xiaosh announced a break, and this Class 6 Soul Engineer senior started to gesture for Huo Yuao and Hiketu to join him. The 2 of them looked at each other before stepping forward together. Senior, what instructions do you have for us? The 2 of them greeted this Class 6 Soul Engineer respectfully. This senior looked pleased with the both of them. He wore a smile on his face and said, the 2 of you don't have to be so formal. We're all from the same academy. It's just that I've never seen either of you in the inner courtyard before. It seems like both of you are very talented, since you're both here in this exchange. K2, your teacher Fan Yu's disciple, if I'm not wrong. Oh yes, my name is Yi Xiaoshang. You can call me Brother Sheng. Brother Sheng. Huo Yuao and Hiketu said respectfully. Yi Xiaoshang nodded his head in satisfaction and said, a snake cannot crawl without its head. We're all from Shrek, and this is a valuable opportunity. We have an important mission to carry out, too. If there's anything either of you need, you can come and find me. Hiketu smiled and replied, thanks, Brother Sheng. You can also instruct us if there's anything that you want us to do. Yi Xiaoshang was originally worried that Hiketu would snatch away his leadership role. He was much more relieved after this brief conversation, but he wouldn't make it difficult for Hiketu, either. After all, Hiketu was a Class 6 Soul Engineer too, and was also Fan Yu's inheriting disciple. He was fine as long as Hiketu didn't affect his leadership role. I don't think I'm in a position to instruct the both of you. Brother you don't have to stand on ceremony. The 2 of you should also rest after this long journey. After he finished speaking, Yi Xiaoshang waved goodbye before leaving. Hiketu and Huo Yuao stared at each other for a moment. moment before smiling. After that, they returned to their rooms. Shrek Academy students quickly finished packing on the second morning and followed Yan Xiaosh and Fan into Maple Leaf City's central plaza. Huo Yuao immediately recognized both Meng Hingchen and Xiao Hingchen, who were familiar foes. They were both 17 years old now and didn't look much different from adults. They were standing at the forefront of the Sun Moon Imperial Soul Engineering Academy's group. What stunned Huo Yuao was that Jing Hingchen had come personally. The teacher that was leading them was Teacher Ma, the same teacher he'd seen during the tournament. Teacher Ma was also Ma Rulong's biological grandfather and the chief of the illustrious Virtue Hall. The Sun Moon Imperial Soul Engineering Academy was determined this time. Not only did the Hingchen siblings come, but Huo Yuao also spotted 3 of the preparatory team members from the tournament. Jing Hingchen appeared quite relieved. Both parties met at Maple Leaf City's central plaza. The Hingchen siblings quickly located Huo Yuao, who stood at the back of the group. When Xiao Hingchen saw Huo Yuao's Class 3 badge on his chest, he instinctively pursed his lips and shot Huo Yuao a provocative look. The Hingchen siblings were still very indignant about having lost to Huo Yuao and Wang Dong in the most critical battle during the tournament. They believed that it wasn't because of cultivation, but rather because their understanding of Huo Yuao and Wang Dong was insufficient. In addition, Xiao Hingchen had been gravely injured back then. Xiao Hingchen didn't regard Huo Yuao as being on the same level as him, even though he had lost the tournament. His targets were Soul Emperors like Ma Xiaotao and Dai Yueheng. Jing Hingchen said to Yan Xiaosh, "Greetings, Ding Yuan. I didn't expect that you'd be here personally today. It seems like your academy is treating this exchange quite seriously." What kind of person was Yan Xiaosh? He was as calculating as Jing Hingchen. He wore a smile and replied, "Oh, Master Hingchen, aren't you personally here too? Apologies for not hosting you well when you came to Shrek Academy as a guest the other time." Yan Xiaosh disliked Jing Hingchen, although he didn't have proof. It was likely that Jing Hingchen was behind Ma Xiaotao's disappearance from Shrek. Jing Hingchen's facial muscles cramped a little. His experience at the Sea Gods Pavilion was too memorable. A Class 9 soul tool. He had lost such a soul tool to Shrek Academy. Even the automatic Class 9 soul tools he brought had been confiscated by Shrek Academy. He'd suffered great losses. Yan Xiaosh was obviously adding salt to his wounds. "I heard that Eldermu has passed on. My condolences. It's a pity that it was our last time meeting then. He was the strongest and most deserving of respect among all the titled Douluo that I've ever seen." Yan Xiaosh received those words coldly. Eldermu's death had been a huge blow to him. He replied, "Oh, Master Hingchen, let's cut the unimportant words. Since we already agreed to this earlier, let's exchange our students now. I'm representing Shrek Academy's Martial Soul Department in welcoming your students for this exchange. Thanks so much for watching this video. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe. Also leave a comment down below with suggestions on what novels to read.